Hey, hey.
Welcome back, everyone.
Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Too Real with Mike and Jillian Rosado. It is a sunny, beautiful Wednesday here.
In sunny New Jersey.
In
the middle of September.
Yeah, which the weather is like, because it's like scorching hot the first week of school, and now we're like in fall. And I was telling you last weekend, I was like, I kind of want to decorate for fall, but I can't do it when it's like 90 degrees outside.
Yeah, for real.
I was in Target, and I was like, I want to buy all the fall things, but it's too hot. I can't do it. So I'll wait till October. And then everything will be up for like 2 weeks, and then you're like, what is the point?
But shout out to all the pumpkin spice stuff.
Ugh.
I'm all about it. That's where you and I differ. You'll get all like fall, in regards to decorations, but I'm all about the flavor, baby.
Yeah, I'm not a pumpkin person.
I'm basic.
I just ordered him pumpkin Nespresso pods.
Yes, and I feel loved.
Yeah. It's the little things.
It is the little things.
But what else is going on with us lately? I feel like each day is a blur because it's been so busy.
So crazy, yeah.
Work's been intense.
Some traveling, going back and forth. Transition from summertime to back to school with, we're overseeing a school here in New Jersey and a church, and it's a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah, I'm yawning right now.
Wow. The professionalism here is fantastic, people.
But like every day I get up at like 5:30 and I'm in bed by 10 o'clock. And like, I feel like I crash really hard.
Yeah.
Like as soon as my head hits the pillow, actually before my head hits the pillow on the couch, I start going down real quick. But I just feel like the days have just been like wild.
Yeah.
So, but we're here. We're ready to chat it up. What are we talking about today?
So we're going to talk about being spiteful. And the reason we're talking about that because it's kind of relevant. Sometimes it is hard. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Sometimes when you're leading an organization, turnover happens, and there's good turnover, and then there's bad turnover, and then sometimes, as people leave, they don't leave well. I believe this. Here's your first. You can't say tweetable anymore, can you?
Exable.
Here's
your first expression.
Yeah.
Of the day.
Ooh, like that one.
There you go.
Here's your first.
There you go, Elon.
Yeah. Here's the first expression of the day. Healthy goodbyes lead to healthy hellos.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So it never. You think you're getting one up on someone when you screw somebody over on your way out. You know what I mean?
I'm going to show them.
Yeah, like that Jerry Maguire, who's coming with me, right? You start kicking things and
You're
taking
such
stuff
a
with
boomer.
me. And so, like, I don't know. I'm personally not a spiteful person. Would you agree? Like, I don't.
Yeah, no, you're not at all.
I'm not spiteful. I don't consider myself petty.
My pause was, I thought you were asking me if I am. And
No,
I was like,
yeah. So this episode, we're turning to your expertise in this area because you...
I lean spiteful.
You do, and...
I don't always act on it, but my initial reaction is just full-on spite.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah.
And so you deal a lot with spite,
yes.
And it's something that we had to work on in our marriage. Yeah, and so hopefully we don't have to edit this part of the podcast, but like, where do you think you got it from?
I don't know. I'm sorry, Mom. I think I got it from you. It's just so fun to be spiteful sometimes.
Is it though? What is wrong with you?
No, I don't know. Like, I think for me, when I'm hurt by someone, it's hard for me to just say, hey, you hurt me, and like sitting in that. Like for me, it feels better to just be like, well, I'm going to get them back because then maybe they'll feel as badly as I do.
Yeah.
And that's like a huge false narrative of being spiteful that I don't think people realize. But yeah, I think us tough Hamlet women, instead of just saying like, that hurts and I'm sitting in it, I'm gonna get them back.
You're gonna get them back.
Yeah.
But you're spiteful and petty sometimes.
I mean, I love being petty.
What is wrong with you?
Just call me Tom Petty.
But I will say before, anyone who is a part of our organization that, if you're listening to this, like, she has gotten so much better.
Yeah.
So much better. Maybe she
It's
acts
not
it out
always
internally.
niceties, guys.
Yeah.
Like, we are human.
Yeah.
We struggle just like the next person. But yeah, like, I'm even petty with my kids.
Let's talk about petty parenting.
Petty
folks.
parenting. All right, ready? So I will tell my kids, the washer's open. Go put your stuff in the washer, because they do their own laundry, and that's something that we've had them do for years now, because we're raising men, we're not raising children. So there will be times that they will take all of my clothes out of the dryer, throw them like on the floor, and then take their one shirt out and put it in the dryer because they needed it that morning, because they waited till the last minute to do their wash.
50 other shirts.
Yeah.
But they had to wear that one that morning.
But then they leave all their wet clothes in the washer.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times where I will take their wet clothes out of the washer, put them in a basket, and put them next to the laundry room instead of putting them in the dryer, because I'm petty.
Wow.
And I guess that doesn't lean toward, and maybe that's something we need to discuss. Like, what's the difference between being spiteful and being petty? Because some people might be like, that's like really spiteful. But I think it leans more to petty. And I think the differentiation between the two is, like, some might call it like even prank-esque type actions. Like, you don't want to really cause harm to someone. Like, you just want to teach them a little lesson, you know? Spite is like, you want something bad to happen to this person. Like, you want, and a lot of times spite comes out of like strong emotions like anger, resentment, jealousy, whereas petty is just like, you're just being petty. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I think there's real harm involved in spite. So like spite, well, I'm going to do this so this person loses their job. I'm going to do this so that this person's reputation's damaged. That's spite. Whereas petty is like, you're going to have some musty, wet clothes that you're going to have to rewash. And the thing that is like the craziest thing about it is, it always backfires on me, because then either I have to deal with them just throwing the clothes in the washer and smelling musty all week, or I'm the one that ends up rewashing the clothes.
Right.
So like, it didn't even accomplish they didn't learn the lesson.
Mm-mm.
They did it.
Right.
Because I am who I am. But yeah, I think that's like, can you give another example of what you see like the difference between spitefulness and pettiness is?
Yeah, I also think that spitefulness is an act. I think petty is an attitude.
Yeah.
Because like when you're doing something, you're being spiteful. You're doing something intentionally.
You're acting petty.
Yeah. Whereas like petty for me, when people are petty at church or petty in relationships, like, they take these little small things and they make a big deal out of it, right? Where, yes, you're right. It's almost like little prank stuff, that kind of deal. But I also think too, like, it's an attitude towards the small things, because when people exaggerate, it's usually a result of, in my experience, it's a result of they constantly feel unheard and unseen. So in order for them to do that, to take something small, make it big, excuse me, in order for them to be heard, they have to elaborate, they have to exaggerate, they have to amplify something. And that's where all the times when I get like a petty email or a petty complaint, it's usually from a person who feels small and insignificant. Yeah. And they're trying to do something to be heard or seen.
Yeah. Here's another example of being petty in parenting. I'm just throwing myself under the bus. So our boys always have friends over, and we love that. Like, we want that to be the house. But after this weekend, it's too much. We had like just a long weekend. There were kids over all weekend. And again, normally I'm cool with it, but they were like up all night. Well, Friday night we were in Atlantic City for a wedding, so we didn't know. But Saturday night they were up to the point that like they woke us up at 5:30 in the morning. They were so loud.
And I wish they were kids. The problem is these are grown.
They're like 18.
They're legal adults.
Yeah. So they're outside hanging out back, and I can hear them at 5:30 in the morning, and I'm like, are they still like, what is happening? And like we got a complaint from the neighbors and all that stuff. So I woke up that morning, and normally like I'll come down in the morning and like they're sleeping on the couch. There's a couple of them in Chase's room. Some of them are on the 3rd floor, and I'll be quiet because like I know they're up late and like I'm not doing anything. That Sunday morning, I was not quiet. I was loud. I was blasting my podcast. I was doing laundry. I was like slamming things because I'm like, y'all woke me up early and I'm going to be petty right now. And I'm going to wake you up early because I know you went to bed about an hour ago. And that's not my problem. Petty parenting 101.
Petty parenting. But I think that's spiteful too, right? You're intentionally damaging.
It's not harming them.
No, it's
like,
not
that's
harming
their
them,
problem. They stayed up until 6 o'clock in the morning. Like,
Right. Yeah. So we kind of alluded to it, but like, give me the psychology of being spiteful. Like, why is it something that, can I ask you, does it feel good to be spiteful?
Here's the thing. In the moment, you think it feels good. But after the fact, it's accomplished nothing. It's actually brought you down even further, and you still haven't solved the initial issue. So, like, you're mad at someone for X, Y, and Z. So instead of just going to that person and being like, hey, this is how I'm feeling, it, like you said, they don't feel seen or heard, but they're also not bringing it to your attention. They're not coming to you about it. They're just reacting instead. And then when that reaction either hurts someone, and you think you feel good about that, but deep down you don't. And then, or it doesn't accomplish anything, and you're still, like, at the end of the day, you're still feeling the same way regardless.
Yeah.
There's still something there that hasn't been resolved. And reacting out of spite is not a solution. It's not. It actually brings you down more than that person.
Totally agree with that. But let me put you on the couch. We haven't said that phrase in a while.
Okay.
Put you on the couch for a second. Yes, it's temporary. It might feel good in the moment. It doesn't solve anything. But I think being spiteful requires the same amount, maybe not the same type of energy, but the same amount of energy than it is to have a confronting conversation.
But
why do you choose being spiteful over having a confronting conversation?
Because you don't have to be vulnerable. Because in your spite, you can be angry, you can be jealous, you can be hurt, but you're not being vulnerable with that person about how you're feeling. You're just acting instead.
So is it pride that attaches you to being spiteful over having a conversation?
Maybe, yeah. Yeah. Pride and vulnerability, I think.
Right.
I think vulnerability is a huge factor of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because being vulnerable, you have to admit that you're hurt. You have to admit that something bothered you. You have to admit that you're vulnerable to more hurt.
Instead, I'm going to show them.
Yeah.
You feel like it almost might be an instance of you feel like you've lost power because you're hurt. And it's like a power grab in your mind. Well, if I do this, then I hold the power again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And that's pride, right? Let's just call it what it is. That's pride. Yeah. And the pride of vulnerability. But like you said, the results you yield, the possibility of you yielding the result of reconciliation, feeling heard, feeling resolved is highly probable when you have a conversation more than just being spiteful. Have you ever in the past been spiteful towards someone, them recognize what they did wrong and then come back and apologize? Has being spiteful ever worked?
No. It never works. Again, you might feel good in the moment, but the issue's still there. Someone's wronged you. I'm going to show them. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say this about them. They're still like, no matter what you do, the issue is not resolved.
Right.
Like it's still sitting there.
Yeah.
You're still sitting on it. And okay, they lost out money. They lost out time. They lost out resources. People are talking about them. Like, does that really make you feel good? Like, I don't know.
And you're leaving yourself up to that person retaliating with even more spitefulness.
That's a hard thing.
Right.
Like,
hey, married couples, you listening? When you retaliate, being like, so one person's being spiteful, then okay, I'm going to be spiteful back, right? All right, you're not going to fold my clothes today. I'm not going to set a place setting for you today, or I'm not going to wake you up today. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? And then it ends up being these little spiteful battles turn into a war.
Yeah.
Right? And somebody has to put the gun down.
Yeah.
You know?
Or say someone does something, you're not happy about something that someone did. So you're retaliating, you're being spiteful. And then people are seeing that. Who do you think their opinion dwindles of?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they're looking at you like, okay, this happened, but like, look at your actions. Like, they're not thinking very highly of you.
Yeah, right.
So not only are you not resolving the issue, you're also damaging your own reputation at the same time.
Yeah, I never looked at a person and said, they're being spiteful. Look how big they are.
Yeah.
Right? Look
like,
how
ooh,
awesome
good
they
for
are.
them.
Yeah.
They got back at them.
Right.
Like, it's never that result. And
no.
It's hard because your emotions are high. Your emotions speak really loudly sometimes. Your emotions scream sometimes, but your emotions aren't always accurate.
Here's a theory that I have. So, again, we're putting you back on the couch again.
Okay.
In the moments that you're being spiteful are the moments that you lack trust in. Now, I'm going to replace a word here. That you lack trust in humanity, the other person, or God, and if you don't believe in God, listen, universe, right? You don't trust that that person's going to learn their lesson. You don't trust that that person is going to get what they deserve. You don't trust that this issue is going to be resolved any other way. You are taking the control back into your hands and making sure that you are vindicated, making sure that vengeance is yours in that moment. You don't trust that that person's going to learn the lesson. That's you internally going, I am going to show them because no one else is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally a control thing. And like, as someone who struggles with control, it makes sense that spite would be one of my, in my mind, weapons.
Yeah,
but it works against you.
But underneath that control issue is a lack of trust.
Yeah, well, that I feel like behind every control issue is a lack of trust or fear.
Right.
You know, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but then is it helpful then to take a couple steps back and go, do you really believe that this person's never going to come to the realization that what they did isn't good? Do I really believe that this is going to go unpunished or unrecognized? What would happen? Would you be still spiteful if you just paused and asked yourself that question?
I think as I've gotten older and grown in this area, I think my pause, there is a pause, but it's a different question. It's more of like, am I being the bigger person by just letting it go? Or am I being the bigger person by having a conversation instead? Hey, you know, like, this didn't feel too good. You know what I mean? Like, it would make a world of difference all around if everyone took those type of pauses, because spitefulness is so reactionary. Yeah.
So what was the turning point for you? Because you have gotten dramatically better in this area.
Well, I think because you're like, why are you being so spiteful? And I'm like, this is just who I am. What are you talking about?
This is not who you are.
And I also think with feeling it from the other side of people being spiteful towards me, like, it hurts. It hurts. Like, and so it doesn't solve the issue, but you're actually like hurting someone. And I think I'm like a low-key, very empathetic person. So I think having that awareness of like how that would make someone feel, even if it's just in the moment, like, I don't want to make anyone feel like that. Yeah. Because I don't want to feel like that, you know? I think maturity, honestly.
Maturity.
Yeah.
And I want to correct something, and I know you didn't mean this, but that you said you're like, I'm just spiteful. It's just who I am.
I'm joking when I say that.
No, but
Yeah.
but we do live in a society that when you've been hurt, you identify so much with that hurt that it becomes a part of your personality.
Yeah.
And if there's a part of your personality that's a result of hurt, you got to ask yourself the question, does that really belong there? Mm-hmm. Right? Is that really how you were created?
Yeah.
You know, if are you a product of how you were created, or are you a product of that event or that past hurt in your life? Mm-hmm. You know? And I think too many times we allow ourselves to be jerks, arrogant, lazy, you name it, like these things that you think that's just me, that's just who I am, I'm gonna do me. Mm-hmm. No, that's not just you. I don't buy it. I don't think, you know, I could sit there and go, I'm just an angry person. No, I was not an angry person. We were just watching old VHS tapes and I'm smiling in my 90s gear, hardcore,
full head of hair.
Full head of hair. Right,
diving at a piñata.
And I'm looking at it, and then you kept on saying, look how smiley you are, look how smiley you are.
Is that how I said it?
Yeah, look how smiley you are. No, I'm kidding. But you know, you kept on saying that, and it's just like, yo, I wasn't born with RBF like everybody thinks I was, right?
Yeah.
That happened because of life. Mm-hmm. And so I think don't adopt that as a part of your personality. You are not spiteful. If you're listening, you're not spiteful. You are not petty. That is a result of something that happened to you. And who are you when you are whole and healthy?
Yeah.
Ask yourself that question.
I think something, and I heard this, I can't recall the podcast I heard this on, but they were talking about how our society has become so reactionary in all areas. And just like we said, what if you paused? I think the world would be like, it sounds so cliche, but the world would be such a better place if within anything, even outside of like moments where you want to be spiteful, if we all just paused and said, what is the right decision here?
Yeah.
There's always right and wrong. And we ignore that so much in so many areas. But like, what is the right decision here? And like, could you imagine the change that would come about from that? Like, okay, this person hurt me. This person did me wrong. I'm going to show them. If you were just to pause and be like, hey, what's the right thing to do here? Maybe the right thing is going to that person and talking to them about it. Maybe the right thing is just letting it go. But we choose the wrong. We want that satisfaction that we think that redemption that we think will come along with that, but it doesn't.
Right.
I think that's the thing I've learned so much throughout things. Like when I am spiteful, I am attempting to hurt someone, and that is not the type of person that I want to be. I am attempting to tarnish that person's reputation. I don't want to have a hand in tarnishing anyone's reputation. And then I think that I'll feel high and mighty, and I never do. And what is the right thing to do? Either have the conversation and find a solution or resolution there, or just let it go. You don't need to respond to everything. You don't. And that's the thing I think has been hardest in the leadership roles that we're in. People can say things and people about us, and people can do things to us, and your flesh really wants to respond and rationalize and tell them, well, you don't know this and you shouldn't have said that and you don't know what's going on and all this stuff. But I've learned throughout 5 or 6 years in ministry and 42 years on this earth, sometimes it's easier and it's better for my mental health to just let it go. I don't need to explain myself. I don't need to justify why things happen. I can just let it go. You know, it takes more out of me trying to convince someone, because sometimes people will have their minds made up. Sometimes you just need to let it go.
Yeah.
And be okay with that.
Right.
And that's hard, but sometimes it's the best thing for you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because fighting hurt with hurt just leaves everybody injured.
And
fighting fire with fire just burns the whole place down. Somebody has to be the extinguisher, like an eye for an eye will eventually just make the whole world blind. So, I think that is really good. But also know the difference. There are times you let it go and there are times you actually say something. And if you know yourself, if you tend to be a more passive person, don't always just let it go.
Yeah.
Because eventually it's just going to bottle up and you're going to explode.
Ask the question, what is right here?
Yep.
Because there's some minds that you're not going to convince. And you could sit there and explain yourself until you're blue in the face. And it's not going to change a thing. In those instances, maybe it's just better to let... There are people in my life that I have to deal with that I know that nothing that I'm going to say is going to be able to change their mind or change their actions. And I need to be the bigger person and just let it go.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to tell them everything about themselves and I want to tell them why they're wrong and why this and why that, it's not going to make a difference.
Yep.
You need to just let it go.
Yeah.
You need to release yourself from that hold that it has on you because the only person that you're hurting is yourself.
Fantastic. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Is that like, yeah,
we just fixed Jillian, folks, so
welcome to my counseling session.
Cue the hallelujah chorus.
Can you cover my insurance deductible for me? Thank you very much. Shout out Horizon, Blue Cross and Blue Shield. They love to send me bills. All right. Anyways, that is all we have for you this week. We will be back. That
is all.
That is all. You wrap it up. I feel very exposed right now. I can't talk.
All right. So that is all what we have here this week. Gonna wrap it up here today. Hey, again, you know the deal. You listen to podcasts. Hey, rate, review, share this. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to it. We're on all the platforms, so check us out there and give us a thumbs up. Even on YouTube too.
Hi. I'm wearing color today. Actually, we kind of coordinate. We both went with red. Mine's like a reddish orange.
Yours is like a reddish orange, yeah.
But we did it.
Yeah, I'm.
He's the man in black.
Yeah, I am the man in black because I'm trying to hide these love handles. That'll be the next episode. Lack of discipline. Let's put me on the couch. Anyway, I'll see you next time right here.
I just got so excited.
On Too Real. Peace.
Bye.